Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our meetings this evening. We have 3 meetings in a row this evening, so we will be starting with the public meeting of planning. So for Monday, September 8th, 2025. Are there any disclosure or conflict of interest? Seeing none. Ratify the minutes. It's not written on my Deputy Mayor Williams. Oh, sorry, agenda. Accept the agenda.
Public planning?
Yep, public meeting and planning.
Okay.
Agenda. No, I have moved by Councillor Deputy Mayor
Yes.
Williams.
Yes, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the agenda for the public meeting of planning on Monday, September the 28th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving to ratify the minutes, Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move by myself, seconded by Councilor Manning. And the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the minutes of the public meeting of planning of Monday, August 11th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to zoning bylaw amendments and site plan development agreements. First one up is Z05 2025 Eastwood Dairy Farms. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the applicant for this file, Eastwood Dairy Farm, the location, it's located at 2500 Lagan Glenelg Road, which is also County Road 24 in Dalkeith. So there it is. So just a little bit south of 417, between the 417 and Alexandria. That's a little close up there that you see. So the portion that we're discussing today is the 2 roll numbers that are within the purple portion. So it's like it's pinned together, but it's still 2 roll numbers. So it's the entire purple area. That's a little close up of the property. So there's a farm on the west of those lots that also owns the 2 next roll numbers over. So what we're intending to do here, following the consent application by the owner, we're changing the zoning to prohibit residential and prohibit agricultural on this portion right there. So as I mentioned, as per B 05-2025, so the large portion is 215 acres. So the owner was made aware that it was larger than the 74 required, but because he's only severing off the house, he still needs to rezone the entire thing. So 215 acres being rezoned to prohibit residential dwelling, and the severed portion, 2.7 acres being rezoned to prohibit agricultural uses on the property. So the effect of this application, once the zoning has passed, will clear conditions number, I think it's 4 and 5 from B5-25. So these are the portion right there. So as you can see, the pink portion is what is being severed off with the existing single-family dwelling located on it, and the purple will be rezoned to prohibit residential. The official plan designation, agricultural resource lands, just like everything around it in that area. And same thing for our zoning designation. So it's surrounded with general agricultural. So is that property, and there's just a little bit of floodplain on the south end of the property. So the area, as I mentioned, 218 total. The owner is severing off 2.7 acres. 215 remain. So both area are considered compliant with the zoning bylaw. Lot frontage, so in this case for the retained portion, so the large agricultural portion, 200 meters required, and we are at 320 meters of frontage. And same thing for the severed, 45 meters is required, and we're proposing 85. So both lot frontages in this case are also compliant with the zoning bylaw. So as I mentioned, there's just one single family dwelling on the property. After this zoning and after the consent, no changes are proposed. It's simply the new property lines we're creating. There's just a single family dwelling on the severed portion. All the setbacks are made compliant with the new lot. The CBO will go on site to ensure no structures are an issue for health and safety. There are no buildings on the agricultural agricultural portion, so there's nothing to do a change of use on. It's really just fields. For driveways, so there's one existing driveway off of County Road 24, which has a civic number. It will remain, no, sorry, the civic number is actually for the barn in this case, so the new, there will be a new civic number issued for the dwelling or vice versa. We'll discuss with the owner, but there's an existing entrance for the dwelling. There are no entrances for the fields, but the owner lives right beside, so the fields are just accessible from the same farm beside. So there's no new entrances that are being applied for on the county road. That's a picture of the entrance for the dwelling. So the building that you see way at the back is the dwelling. So that building is being severed off the fields all around. So that's the existing entrance. So that's the field. So on the right side of the picture, you can't see it much there, but there's an existing farm there. So the same farmer is selling off the house and keeping all these fields with the existing agricultural operation. This is just a view of the road. So as you can see, it's a county road surrounded by mostly fields and rural residential properties all around. And that's on the other side. Same thing there. There was no issues from our side and from the county's side either. Planning Act, so as you know, the council is allowed to do such severance. Provincial policy statement and the county's official plan states that these severances can happen if the severed lot is being kept to a minimum acreage and this zoning is being applied. So that's the reasoning behind this zoning amendment. So in conclusion, based on the criteria above, proposed zoning amendment conforms with the United Counties of SD&G official plan, consistent with PPS, and it's compliant with our zoning bylaw. And again, as you know, voting from members of council will occur at a subsequent council meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. Any questions from members of council? No, I will ask the clerk 3 times to see if anybody would like to speak in favor of or against this proposal.
Does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? A second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? A third and final time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented?
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Z06 2025, Renal Blais.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the applicant for this property, Chantal and Denis Blais, location 2521 Glen Robertson Road, which is also County Road 10, just here in Alexandria. So as you can see right there, it's just heading out east towards Glen Robertson. It's on the north side of the county road. A little closer here. So it's bounded on the north by the railway tracks and on the south by the county road. And that's the property that you see there in purple. Just a little bit closer, there's currently a dwelling on the property and a few accessory storage building for residential use. So the purpose for this zoning bylaw application, it's to rezone the property from rural to rural special exception number 25 to permit a secondary dwelling on the subject land. So the effect of this application, the owner will be allowed to build a secondary home, and that new secondary home will also have an accessory apartment within the same building. So in total, there will be 3 residential units on the property. As you know, the province is pushing for those, but because this property is outside of the urban settlement area, that's why we still have to do this zoning bylaw amendment. So that's a little proposed site plan. So the dwelling is the white building that you see just north of that yellow box there. That's the new proposed building that you see there. So it's going to be constructed close to where it's currently developed, still in the wooded area, so it will not be, I guess, super visible from the road, but it's going to be close to the existing development. So the building will be there, and the new Class 4 septic system will also be constructed close to there, and I believe the existing well will be used for all the buildings. Official plan designation, so it's a rural district, and the zoning designation is also rural, so the proposed development is compliant with both zoning and official plan. So the size of this property, it's 33.84 acre. There's no proposed changes, and that's compliant with zoning bylaw. So technically, in rural lands, a lot for residential property is only 1 acre, so they have lots of room to do this development. It's being kept as far, like as close to the existing development, so the tracks is not an issue. They're outside of that buffer also. The counties have expressed no concern for this development. So there are no changes in the use after this zoning bylaw. So it's just a special exception to allow for an additional dwelling unit with the accessory apartment within that same building. So frontage also not an issue, 215 meters of facade on the road. So that's the driveway. So like I'm in the driveway, what you see there is an accessory residential storage building. The building that you see on the right in the woods is the house, I believe, and then the new building will be built like on the right of there. So it's going to be all kept in that treed area in the middle of the property. So there's one existing driveway. The driveway is accessible from County Road 10. It will remain civic number. It's also existing for the existing dwelling. We would be able to issue some new civic number for the new dwelling, even though the counties will not allow for a new entrance, so they will have to keep that same entrance. We can still issue some new civic numbers for the new dwellings. And that's a picture from the road. So as you can see, that's the driveway, and the buildings are way at the back there behind the field in the treed area that you see there. And that's the field, so it's kind of the same picture. And then this is, sorry, I just wanted to mention something else for that, I believe. What else did I see? Wait, so class 4 septic systems, there's enough room. Buffer for the tracks, yeah, I mentioned it already. So yeah, no issues for anything else. Planning Act, the council is allowed to pass such bylaw. And for the provincial policy statement, in this case, because it's, like as you know, the province is pushing for more homes, this is permitted in rural areas. Secondary dwellings are actually encouraged. But because they're not on municipal services, we still have to pass that zoning bylaw. So once this is passed, again, like all zoning bylaw, technically the owners will be able to build a house wherever they want, but there's the buffer for the track. So they're kind of limited in where they can do the dwelling, but the entire property is being rezoned to rural-25 to allow for the secondary dwellings. Official plan also permits and encourages secondary dwellings on rural district lands. So in conclusion, proposed zoning bylaw amendment conforms to the SDG policies. It's consistent with the PPS, and it's compliant with the township zoning bylaw. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. Any questions on this? Go ahead, Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Theoretically on this, it's rural, right? So it could qualify for 2 severances.
Yep.
Is there a benefit to them doing a severance versus doing this build, or alternatively, could they sever this place, the secondary dwelling, after they've built it? Not that it would make a difference, I'm just really curious about it.
Yeah, the way it's proposed, like with the other dwelling closer to the existing dwelling, may be harder to sever them off. The goal here is really to have family members to be constructed on the same property. But yeah, they're like, even though they do that there, they still, like, I'll show it on the site plan there. So even though we're passing, it's rural special exception to allow for more dwellings, but if the owner in the future, because it's rural, like you said, they could still create more lots if they're compliant with zoning bylaw. So if they have the minimum acreage, minimum frontage, they could sever off. In this case, because it's a county road, the entrances might block the severances, but here the purpose is really just to have the secondary home on the same property. Yeah, it's rural, they could technically develop in more lots.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions or comments? I'll ask the clerk.
Does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? A second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? A third and final time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented?
Okay, seeing none, thank you. We'll move on to SPDA bylaw number 28-2025, Marceni Real Estate, Inc. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is it's really just an information presentation, I guess. So as it was discussed with Peter Young the other day, site plan control developments, we don't need to do that step like with public presentation and then present it to council. We can go straight to council and do the bylaw. Like I mentioned, it's not the purpose, my purpose is not to do that, so I'll present all the site plans to council, but in this case, why it's being done today, it's simply because in the following meeting, there's a minor variance that has to do with that exact file, so we need a minor variance at the same time, so might as well do site plan control presentation now. So this is really just an information purposes for the site plan control bylaw. So the owner, the applicant for this file, Marconi Real Estate, Inc., the location, 10 Mechanic Street West in Maxville. So as you see, my purple box there, pretty much downtown Maxville, so it's right there, a little closer. So that's an existing 12-unit apartment building. So it's just heading west out of Maxville, so that's the property. As you can see, there's a lot of developable area, I guess. The apartment building on the west, the driveway, the cars that you see there, that's the driveway for that apartment. So the owner has discussed with both neighbors to evaluate the possibility of moving that driveway, and they figured out some way to make this work, because as you'll see in the next slides, the building being developed is right into that driveway. So that's the property as it exists today. So the purpose for this application is for the owner to enter into a site plan control development bylaw with Marconi and the township to permit the development of 2 new 9-unit apartment building, so 18 new units, plus the 12 that are existing that are remaining on the property, and then you'll see there's the redevelopment of the parking lot as well. So this is the proposed site plan. So in this case, just for information purposes, north is on the right side, really. So Mechanic Street goes along the right side there. The existing building is the box that you see at the bottom, and the 2 new buildings are the 2 boxes that you see right there. So just to explain quickly what's going on here. So the new parking area is in between the building. There are 37 parking spots proposed. The 2 small boxes that you see on the south end are the garbage bins. They will be enclosed. And then past that, it's grassed area, so there will be lots of room for snow storage, etc. There's also an existing alley that goes just east of the existing building that will remain, but what's new is the parking lot and the 2 sidewalks that are running across all the buildings. So in this case, on the left side, which is actually south, there's the railway tracks. So as you can see, those 2 dimensions there, they're there because the biggest issue with this development was the setback from the railway. So the owner, is trying to avoid being in that 30-meter setback, because if he would be, there's measures that he has to take that are like sometimes expensive, like sometimes a berm, or you have to build your building with triple pane window for noise, etc. So he absolutely wanted to stay out of that buffer zone. So the first building is there, and then there's the space between the building that is, I guess, as large as that for Ontario building code purposes. So we discussed with both the designer and the owner, and if the buildings were closer, you need like firewalls and stuff like that, so also more expensive. So the ideal way for this, why this is proposed like that, is really for the buffer from the tracks and then the space between the building, which leads to, I guess, an issue, I guess I should say, the setback from the county road and the setback from the west property line. So the minor variance that we're going to talk about in a few minutes is because of that. So all of the zoning requirements from this is zone R4, everything is complied with except for the 2 setbacks. So I'll go in deeper, but that's the proposed site plan right now. The existing entrance is being kept in this case. So official plan designation, residential district, so is all around. Zoning designation, as you can see, R4. So the neighboring property is also R4. There's also an apartment building there. And on the, I guess on the east side, there's a single family dwelling, and then there's Home Hardware, Scotiabank, etc. The use for this property will remain exactly the same. We're just increasing the number of units. So we have an existing 12-unit apartment building, which will remain, and we're proposing 80 new units. So all of these units, so the area, the size of the unit, are all compliant with R4 zone. So this is a picture of what it looks like today. So there's the entrance that you see on the left is the existing parking lot for the 12-unit parking, and the driveway that you see on the right is actually used by the neighbor, the apartment building neighboring that property. So the property line is like on the right of that driveway. So this driveway will have to be relocated. I didn't mention. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if you could just explain, please, what, the driveway on the right will have to be relocated?
Yes, it'll have to be even more right because the buildings will be pretty much on that building. The kind of the curb that you see, the grass curb, the building will be on that. So the driveway, did I show it there? This line show, like you see where the two white cars and the red car are parked there. So these are for the neighbor. These are for on the left side, the apartment building. So that driveway will have to be relocated because the buildings will pretty much go there. So that's why the two neighbors, they came to an agreement. So this has all been discussed between the two neighbors already. But yeah, that's why the picture is a little bit. So the property is wider than it looks because the property line is actually including all of that driveway on the right side. I didn't mention it with the site plan earlier, but most of the trees that you see around that building will have to be removed for the parking in the building. The owner is proposing on one of the site plan, he will plant a lot of trees between the new building and the railway tracks to act as a noise buffer at the same time. So most of the trees will be, of course, they're going to be smaller, but they're going to be replaced, acting as a buffer zone at the same time. So yeah. Surrounding use, I talked about that, but rural residential properties pretty much all around on the north and on the south, past the tracks, it's all residential again. On the east, you've got the main corner of Maxville with Home Hardware and Scotiabank. And on the west, you have this other apartment building, and then there's residential, McEwen, and Maxville Manor. The size, so the property is 1.19 acres. So we calculated the acreage with the amount of units. There's lots of room. So the property is big enough to accommodate for the 30 apartment buildings, so the 12 existing plus the 18 proposed. So that's the picture. This shows all of these trees there. Most of them will have to be removed. So this is where the buildings will be right there on the picture that we see. So frontage, again, compliant with OBC. It's got 56.6 on Mechanic Street, which is also okay for R4. The buildings, so that I pretty much discussed with the site plan earlier. So it's really two new buildings. So that's what the buildings would look like. So the two buildings would be identical. So a little bit, I just want to note it. So this is like we're looking west. Mechanic Street will run on our right side. So basically, when you're walking down the street, you're going to see the side of, there you go. That's what you will see. So you'll see the facade, I guess, of all the apartments are facing the other apartment building on the same property. And then on the street, you will see the side of the building, I guess. So that's what the building would look like. So there, I guess, 2.5 stories. So on the basement, there's units. It's like 3 by 3. There's 3 in the basement, 3 main floor, and 3 upstairs. They are all 2-bedroom right there. They're all 2-bedroom apartments. The configuration is very similar from story to story. It's just because of the stairs. They differ a little bit, but they're all two-bedroom apartments. So the two buildings are like that. All right, so the setback, so as I mentioned, the north setback and the west setback are the two that are not compliant. We're going to discuss them in the minor variance just after. But all of the rest, so obviously the south and the east are compliant. There's lots of room there, the buildings, and then there's at least 30 meters for the buffer for the tracks. And those are the pictures. Maybe I can explain it a little bit more in the minor variance, but the picture on the top, so there's that house there behind the trees. So the owner He's been in discussion with the counties for the setback, so there's still that to figure out. That's the only thing we still need to figure out with the counties is the exact setback. So if the counties will allow the buildings to be as they're proposed right there. What the developer and the owner are proposing, that white building that you see on the top picture, and on the bottom picture, the house that's on the left side, like way past my truck, it's what's called the existing building line on in Maxville on Mechanic Street. So the new building will be just a little bit farther than the road from that. So just to show like on a real picture where they would be, that's where they'd be. So specifically the one on top shows it a little bit more because it's going to be right there. I'm in front of the existing building when I took that picture. So the new building will be just a little bit past that from the road. So they use there's an exception in the county's setback that if you can use and demonstrate that you're using the existing building line, you can get that exception. So yeah, that's why I put those two pictures there. So parking, as I discussed, as per our zoning bylaw, 30 units time 1.5, you would require 45 parking spaces. But with the new provincial regulation, you only have to provide one parking space per apartment. So in this case, we have 30 apartments. We're proposing 37 spaces of parking. So there's technically 7 spaces that are for either visitors or people who have 2 vehicles. The access, as I mentioned, same from Mechanic Street West. Entrance stays the same. Gravel lane stays also existing. Services, so we've got the reports. They've been reviewed by Public Works. So it's basically, we're using the existing system. So there's a new septic connection, but in an existing sanitary line. In this case, for fire protection as well, I think it's my next slide, but there's a new hydrant that's going to be installed on the property. So just for fire protection, it helps also for the building because this building is only facing 2 streets, so it helps when you have additional hydrant closer to the building. So it's going to be right in front of that existing building. So the line will come in there, 6 inches of water there, and then past that hydrant, it'll feed the new units. So yeah, basically there's just a new hydrant there. And civic number, in this case, we'll have to figure something out. 8 and 12 are already taken, so we only have 10 Mechanic Street West to play with, so we'll figure something out, but there's going to be no new entrance proposed. That we're using the same entrance. And again, that's the same picture. And I think, yeah, that I explained, so 30 meters, which is the reason for the minor variance. Those are the trees that are being reviewed that I was discussing. So as you can see, so the parking area that you see there is used by the neighbor as well. So all these trees will be removed. Driveway, the parking lot will also be removed and relocated, and the laneway for the neighbor will also be relocated. Yeah, so in conclusion, proposed development's been designed with municipal and provincial guidelines. We've got all the site plan, all the information, everything has been reviewed, compliant with zoning bylaw and with all the adjacent use. And again, here, members of council members will vote for this bylaw at subsequent meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. Do we need to ask 3 times since this was just an update?
It's just information.
Just-
Yeah,
So we should or shouldn't?
we don't have to, but we
Well,
can.
may as well, just be
I'll
on-
say it anyway.
Okay.
Does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? A second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? A third and final time, does anyone wish to speak against or in favor of the application being presented?
Sure, go ahead. She has a question, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you could just go back to your last picture that you showed, please?
Oh,
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there. Wait.
right. So that apartment building that's on the right-hand side there,
Yes.
if that driveway is going to be taken over by the new building,
Parts of it, not all of it.
not all of it.
Right.
So I imagine that big bush will have to come out then? So that
I think so. I think it's even on the demolition. I believe so, Mr. Peter Mayor, yes.
And I'm assuming there'll be place for them to park still in front of their unit?
Yeah, the same amount of parking lot for the neighbor, like it's just a gravel parking, but the same amount of parking will be kept for the neighbors also. the heel, like the restoration, yeah. So
It
it's,
just doesn't look like a lot of space once you move the driveway over.
no, the bush will definitely have to go, yes. Oh,
Okay.
shit.
I just asking out of curiosity, but
Yeah, I think when the, so the new owner is proposing to, like, of course, the parking and the lines will be paved. And I believe that the agreement is that the new driveway will also be paved. I'm not 100% sure, but there's an agreement between the neighbors that his driveway will be moved so he can develop the land. And the same amount of parking will be kept, we made sure, because we don't want to have a
Well, yeah,
parking issue for the
obviously.
neighbors as well, so.
Okay.
But there is room to move the laneway and the parking.
okay, so that's good. I'm just,
Yeah, of course.
and with regards to those trees, because I visited the site yesterday and I realized they have to come out because that's where the parking is, but they're really nice trees and,
Yeah.
planting back here, I think that's an excellent idea. If there's room out front, I think it would be really nice because there's no hydro wires there. It would be really nice on that side of the road. It'd be really nice to get a little greenery, a little closer to the main street rather than it just
Facade.
building facades there.
I'll propose it. They were not keen on the idea of removing all the trees either, because obviously no one wants to cut trees for nothing. The ones in front of the existing building are remaining, but yeah, all the ones, the ones that you see there, the black dots, unfortunately, like for parking building, but yeah, I'll let them know about the in
Okay,
front.
good. Thank you, Jacob.
Okay, so we will move to adjournment. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey. There being no further business to discuss, the public meeting of planning was adjourned at 6:01.
All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. We'll move right into the Committee of Adjustment meeting. Are there any disclosure of conflict of interest? Seeing none, accept the agenda. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accept the agenda of the Committee of Adjustment hearing on Monday, September 8, 2025.
Any questions on the? Okay, all those in favor? None opposed. Motion is carried. Ratify the minutes. Councillor Madden.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the Council of Township of North Glengarry accepts the Committee of Adjustment hearing minutes for Monday, August 11, 2025.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. And moving on to minor variances, MV 07 2025, Marcini Real Estate Inc., Councillor Martin.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, it is recommendation of the planning department that the Committee of Adjustment approve minor variance application MV 07 2025.
Okay, thank you. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, yeah, basically a continuation of the other presentation. Same applicant, Marcini Real Estate, 10 Mechanic Street West in Maxville. So same property right there. So the purpose for this application, as I explained in the other presentation, so the only thing that are not compliant with our zoning bylaw R4 are two setback depths. So we've got the front setback, so to the north, to the county road, 9 meters is required, but only 5.66, I believe, is proposed. So that is to, it'll be clearer in the picture after, but it's to the building foundation where the mechanical cabinet is on the side. So the setback to the actual building are 6.3 meters. So we've asked for like the actual minimum to the property line. And the other setback that's not compliant is the west interior side yard. 4.5 is required and only 3 is proposed on that side. So again, the effect of that application is to build the 2 new 9-apartment building. So there you go. So those are the 2 dimensions that are not compliant. So as you can see, the 5.66 is to the electrical meter. So it's like a little box that's sticking out of the building to put all the meters covered. The actual setback to the wall of the building, I guess, is 6.3 meters or 6.46 meter. But that's just it. regardless, it needs a minor variance because it's 9 meters that's your required. So we're asking for basically a 10 feet reduction in the setback. And on the top, which is actually the west, 3 meters is proposed, but 4.5 is required. So a reduction in 1.5 meter or 5 feet. So again, official plan, residential district, for density, so everything is compliant. Those are the 2 setbacks. So that's what I was talking about earlier. I should have put that picture before as well. So the building that you see on the top right corner is an existing single-family dwelling, and the other dwelling that you see way on the left side is another single-family dwelling. And as you can see, the line drawn there, so our new buildings are proposed just a little bit past that. So we're trying to use that existing building line and putting our building a little bit farther. I think it's 4 feet past that line. So the new building is pretty much aligned with the existing building over on the west side, so the other apartment building. So that's what I was talking about before. So the new buildings will be there. So in this case, I explained why the buildings are proposed to be there. So the main reasoning behind this request, behind this reduction request, is really to accommodate both the setback from the railway and to accommodate the Ontario Building Code provision that's required between the 2 buildings. Also, if you put the buildings together, like if you want to try to reduce space there and put the buildings together, is also an Ontario Building Code issue where you need firewalls instead of fire protection, fire separation, etc. So it is more complicated, I guess, building-wise. So that's why it's proposed that way. Same pictures, so that go along with my other things. So the two dwellings that you see in the bush, I guess, are the 2 closest, I guess. And if you go also past, especially on the west side, like on the bottom picture, all the houses are closer to what's required. Even on the north side of the road, they're all closer. So for like snow and sidewalks, it shouldn't be an issue as far as staff was concerned. So that's why this minor variance is being presented there. And we're in favor of this minor variance as well. So the 4 tests for minor variance, so if it's compliant with the intent of the official plan, so in this case, the official plan is a residential district, so whether it's single-family, apartment building, these are all encouraged as per official plan. Intensification is also encouraged, so that's exactly what we're trying to achieve here. Intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, so as I explained, all the requirements are being complied with except for the 2 setbacks. Deemed suitable and desirable for the surrounding areas, so that's why the developer has demonstrated that the existing building line is actually a little bit closer. Like, I mean, they're aware that it's a bigger building, but at least it's not closer to the road. So in this case, that's why we're evaluated more of the surrounding area in that sense. And minor in nature, so as I explained, we're really asking for 5 feet on the west side, a little bit more on the north, so 10 feet closer to the road. And that's what's being discussed with the counties right now. So the counties have not given their final okay. So Caden of the counties was really helpful today. So he told us to proceed with the minor variance presentation and meeting just for the sake of like advertisement, waiting period, and etc. So if we have to postpone, it's like a month and a half of wait for the owner. So the counties were very helpful in that sense. They said, go ahead, propose the minor variance as such, and then we'll meet on site, us, the counties, developer, and the owner, to make sure that everybody is okay with the setback. As long as it's not closer to the 5.66 we're requesting here, we won't have any issues. So that's why we're still going ahead with this presentation. So yeah, planning staff is in the opinion that the applicant's request is considered minor in nature, desirable and appropriate, and meets the intent and purpose of zoning bylaw and the official plan. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the committee? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk.
Mr. Mayor, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? A second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? A third and final time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented?
Okay, thank you. And no comments from the public?
No, the only comment we received were from, well, we actually received a letter from Via Rail stating that the 30 meters is respected, so they have no additional or whatever comments. And we're in discussion with the counties right now for the setback. No neighbors or anything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Motion to adjourn, Deputy Mayor Williams.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that there being no further business to discuss, the Committee of Adjustment hearing was adjourned at 6:09 PM.
All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. We'll go right into our council meeting. Okay, I will call the meeting to order. Are there any declaration of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, motion to accept the agenda. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the agenda for the regular meeting of council on Monday, September 8, 2025.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments on the agenda? All those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed. Adoption of the previous minutes. Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Jeff Manley, that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as circulated. Regular meeting of council minutes, Monday, August 11th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. Questions on the council minutes? All those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed. Okay, moving on to delegations. We will have the welcome to Inspector Mark Hemrick for the OPP update. Welcome. Oh, wow, AI just said some stuff there.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Mr. Mayor and Councillor Madden. I didn't quite catch what that said, but I hope it was only flattering. Yeah. And never used against me because this is a publicly recorded meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councillors, for members of staff for having me this evening. I'd first of all like to start by apologizing. I know that I had made it a regular practice to appear in front of every municipal council on a yearly basis to provide a bit of an update to the council and staff about the sort of state of affairs, or the OPP's greatest hits, what we are doing in your local municipalities and throughout the United Counties of SD&G as a whole. I was away last year on a temporary assignment as the detachment commander of the Renfrew detachment. So that didn't allow me to come to each council. So this evening I will be touching on some things that have occurred in 2024 and 2025, just to provide council with an update, and afterwards I will be happy to answer any questions that you might have through yourself, Mr. Mayor. So first and foremost, I certainly would like to speak about our community engagement. So the community engagement, particularly throughout the United Counties, we have seen a significant increase in our officers being out with members of the public. And I know that when I've spoken to council in the past, certainly I've always highlighted the Highland Games. I think we can all agree with last year's 75th and this year, their officers are out there and they're doing exactly what we want them to do. They're taking pictures with people, they're answering questions, and they are really projecting the OPP and police in general in a positive light. What I'd really like to highlight is over the last 2 years, we have really put an emphasis on that occurring outside of the festival season. So, taking walks throughout the smaller downtown areas. I know that one of our officers, Officer Duguay, regularly takes a walk through the municipality of Alexandria, just to pop into the local businesses, say hello, and maybe try and address some concerns that people don't feel a call to the police might be warranted, but they might like to talk to the police. So we've really encouraged our officers to be out and about when they're not doing calls for service. So we've really seen a big jump in increase year over year on those activities. And that doesn't go just to, again, putting a friendly face behind the police officer, but it also really goes to trying to solve, local problems at a grassroots problem. I know that certainly on this council, and like every council throughout SDNG, that as councillors, you field a lot of calls, and you might deflect a lot that might regularly come to the police. But that is our job, to address those equally as it is yours. So we've seen a significant increase in those activities in North Glengarry and all 6 municipalities that we provide policing services to. Certainly another highlight that I would like to highlight with our community engagement is actually within the schools. So part of the OPP strategic plan was to have a greater presence in the schools. And one of the areas, and as you're familiar, Mr. Mayor, having been on the board, that the board tasked me and the detachment with, was really to be out in the schools to work on the subject of sexual consent. Not just from a physical standpoint, but also sexual safety through online and the internet, and really to bring that knowledge up in an appropriate manner. And I'm happy to say that we've been partnering on a regular basis with victim services of Stormont, Dundas, Glengarry, and Akwesasne to combine our efforts and deliver those programs throughout the schools in the city of Cornwall and throughout the counties. We also partnered with Victim Services of SDNG&A this year with a specific campaign where there were additional funds where, again, we really emphasized what is sexual consent and what are acts that our youth might not be aware of that could cause them some peril. So we are very pleased with those results, because what we are seeing is a decrease, especially in the area of sexual assaults reported through lack of consent. We are really seeing a decrease in those. And we are also seeing a much greater, I would say, internet savvy and internet safety when it comes to sexual offenses through those. So very happy to talk about that. As council also knows, very near and dear to my heart is our MCRT program. It continues to rock. I think that's the best way. We just continue to see those high risk persons receiving services at the onset. We could not ask for a greater partner in the Cornwall Community Hospital, and our worker Rachel, she is quite frankly like one of our own OPP officers. I would probably say we are more protective of her than we are ourselves. The 24-25 grant cycle, unfortunately, I chose as the detachment commander in consultation with Cornwall Community Hospital. We did not apply for that cycle. And the reason we did not apply is that when we looked at the parameters for application, the time that was allotted to spend the funds, and just the time strain, both myself and the hospital felt like the goals and objectives that we would have to meet in the short period of time were not achievable. And we simply said we would rather concentrate our resources on this year, on our current program, to look at a future grant cycle, what it might really want. So for the we did apply in January of 2025 for the 2-year grant cycle, and we were successful. So we will be ramping that up very shortly with an additional worker, additional training, and one of the key elements, or actually 2 of the key elements of this grant application are, number 1, that there will be a high focus on geriatric mental health. So we do get we are seeing an increase in calls for service where our mental health team is being tasked with responding to calls where we are seeing people in their, what should there be, their golden years, suffering from serious mental health issues. So really, our team is going to be receiving specialized training. We combine that with working with the elders from the Longhouse of Akwesasne to really look at the approach that they have traditionally taken in a culturally sensitive manner to see if we can gain further insight as to how they deal with, how they've dealt with their people in the past with regards to mental health. So really, we're really excited to ramp both of those things up, and we know, as we always have, that the grant cycle that we will be successful with this grant, and it's only going to lead to greater outcomes for those that are most in need. We do continue to petition. I know that's always a question because County Council very generously does provide funding for that program and the OPP. We continue to continuously petition the Great River Health Authority, and we are constantly, as they have the last 2 years, they continue to, at the end of the year, they have provided us and Cornwall Police with funding directly to the Cornwall Community Hospital that we are able to spend, or that the hospital is able to return to the United Counties retroactively. Now, it's still not that base funding that we truly feel they should be providing us. However, it is something, and that means that the continuous data that we are providing them is having an impact, and if they have any unspent funds from that year, that we are being considered as a top priority. I'd like to speak a little bit about a few of the other priorities. So one of them is traffic safety. So I think whether you live in North Glengarry or you live in any of our other 5 municipalities, traffic safety is always on everybody's mind. I think we can all acknowledge that the 401 and probably Highway 138 get a tremendous amount of attention, but that does not mean that we are not focusing our efforts in other areas. For example, Mr. Mayor, you and I met about a month ago. There were some concerns brought up about a newly paved road. I believe it was McCormick, and we did do some directed enforcement directly on that road. So when we are receiving information of traffic-related complaints in an area, we are always actioning them. So that whether that's coming from council, staff, or members of the public, we are trying to action them. Throughout the counties, unfortunately, this year has been quite a deadly year, probably the deadliest year we're going to see in the last 5 years. I wish I had better news for council to say I had a direct causal result. I just don't. I just do not. Our efforts have not changed. We certainly do directed patrols through our analytics. We are always looking at the causal factors of those collisions. We are looking at the areas. Could it be environmental, where we might need to get the counties or municipalities involved? Unfortunately, they have been spread out evenly across the counties. Some of the causal factors, for investigative reasons, I cannot get into specifics. However, I would say it's one of the biggest things that keeps me up at night. I certainly was pleased to hear that a recent town hall at the 138, which I could not be a part of, but a recent town hall regarding the 138, that certainly the ministry did hear our joint calls for the need of significant highway improvements, and I think that there's probably not a person in the room that probably has not driven on the 138. I know I drive it every single day, trying to make sure that it is safer, just like every other road I drive. We continue to enforce our big 4. They continue to be the biggest causal factors right across the province of Ontario, no matter what municipality you live in. So whether it's impaired driving, speeding related, lack of proper safety equipment or safety restraints, or distracted driving. I can assure you that anywhere we receive a complaint, the OPP has more resources than any police service in Canada, and we employ them all. So if I need to bring a helicopter, a plane, whatever to this area, I just have to make the request, and the OPP is more than happy to provide those resources. We also have other resources that we like to apply to these problems. I won't get into them directly because some of them are highly effective, yet I don't want to give the caramel secret away right now. Finally, just looking at the final thing I would like to address with council is actually one of the priorities in the strategic plan, and that comes directly from our board who helped me craft it, was actually rural property crime. So we have seen a year over year, 23, 24, 25, year over year, we've seen a drop in rural property crime. So some of the messaging that we've done, whether it be through social or traditional media, that is really getting ahead. I would also have to give credit to our community street crime unit. I know that anytime that they see a rash in property crimes, they are all over it. So those prolific offenders that are breaking into people's homes, breaking into cars, they are doing a fantastic job at identifying those offenders and employing the investigative techniques to arrest, charge them, and put an end to it. Mr. Mayor, pending any questions, that is all the update I have for you this evening.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your update, and we appreciate you coming. Just on the MCERT program, I look at the community paramedicine program, and we used to have to keep applying for that, and the province finally made that funding secure. So I think that we just need to keep working to get the province to make that a priority, because as we know, a lot of the calls that you go to, the mental health is definitely prominent in that. Any questions from members of council at this point? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for your presentation. Always good to hear from you and the good work that the OPP does in the community. With regards to I think you called it the MCERT program. It's an acronym. Maybe for everyone's benefit, you could tell us what that means.
Absolutely, Deputy. So the acronym for MCERT is our Mobile Community Response Team, and no matter what OPP jurisdiction you actually go to, that is the acronym that they use. So our Mobile Community Response Team.
So Jamie and the mayor and I are very familiar with that program. As you pointed out, it's moment funded through the counties, and it's been, as far as I'm concerned, an enormous success, and I know the OPP say the same. I'm just curious in terms of, kind of bringing that sort of more locally. Let's look at North Glengarry for a second. How active, is that program, let's say, more locally in North Glengarry, and how does that work, let's say, with the Alexandria Memorial Hospital?
So first and foremost, and through you, Mr. Mayor, the program is administered by the Cornwall Community Hospital.
Right.
So in all case, and it is the Schedule 1 hospital in the area. So that's something very important to keep in mind. So if an apprehension needs to be made, generally, when the mobile crisis response team responds, we will go to Cornwall. Because at that point, because we have a nurse that is specialized in mental health, they will have helped us develop those or discuss those grounds under the Mental Health Act that an apprehension is required. And by bringing them to Cornwall, we're trying to reduce the overall travel time and the burden on the emergency room, because it's simply, once they're at Cornwall Community Hospital, because the program is administered there, it's much simpler to bring the person to that hospital. Our nurse Rachel already has the relationship with the psychiatric department, with the emergency room physicians, and it's one trip upstairs rather than potentially a trip to North Glengarry Hospital. If there are other causal factors, for example, oftentimes our nurse might determine that the person suffering a mental health crisis or a mental health problem might need medical attention. That is when we will utilize our local hospitals to assist us. It's much more efficient that way, because we know with medical attention that may bring the crisis down and not require that level of apprehension, not require further apprehension, I should say. So we're really utilizing that. I would say we only have one Rachel, to serve approximately 70,000 residents. I know for the last 2 years she's been very active. She's actually come out to the Highland Games on the Friday and walked around. She's walked around with her body armor on, saying nurse, and walked around with the officer to introduce herself to the public, make sure the public was aware of the services. I would say that right now, Deputy, most of her work is done through referral. It is done through referral. We are hoping with the addition of the second worker, not hoping, it's going to happen, it's going to be a lot more proactive. So we're going to have the second worker and Rachel much more out there, potentially in the schools, community centers, wherever we can get them out there. So we're really hoping to spread them out. So when they are working together, one might be responding to those live calls for service, where another might be really engaging with the community to make sure that people are aware of the services that are available, but also the services that we can provide through the program.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Just quickly, I just want to say congratulations on a much-needed program and the success of it, and I'm sure it does take the pressure off Alexandria Memorial, for example, which is also needed. So that's great. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Deputy. And just one more thing, Mr. Mayor, if I might, I should have started with you, Mr. Mayor, and you, Deputy. Certainly, you were both on County Council. You were instrumental in, making sure this program got off the ground. I know that, and that you've both been instrumental in continuing its support, and to the rest of Council, who has lobbied and passed motions to, continue to support the program. We are always looking to, make it permanent. I know we'll get there.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Martin.
Well, my question is, alcohol now for a year now has been sold in convenience stores and grocery stores. Have you noticed a market increase in DUIs or?
So there is an increase in impaired driving right across the province. We are the OPP right now is trying to correlate that. So if you are aware that the criminal code, there was an amendment to the criminal code 2 or 3 years ago allowing mass alcohol screening, similar to what they've had in Europe for years. So the police no longer need to form a reasonable suspicion. If you are operating a motor vehicle at any time on a highway in Ontario, we can make a breath demand. And so our officers, so in the GTA at the moment, mass is applied for every traffic stop or every traffic interaction an officer has. So they will be walking up with it in their pocket, and they will be making a demand of the driver to provide a sample of their breath into an approved screening device. I can say that in this area, it has not come to that yet, but every single accident we go to. So that combined with the ride programs, the ride programs, we used to stick our head in the car, hi, how you doing? Any alcohol to drink, can try and form a reasonable suspicion to make that demand. Now we can just go, it's a ride program, we are doing mass alcohol screening, you have to provide a sample. Here's your mouthpiece, please provide it. So the OPP is looking at that. Is looking at that first one. I really couldn't say with alcohol being in the convenience stores if we've seen that increase yet. I would really have to dive deeper into that, and I think that would require a better data set from the people that we are arresting. Right, some additional questioning as to where they made their purchase.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, thanks a lot for coming, Chief Inspector. We very much appreciate it.
Well, thank you again for having me. I'll be here for the rest of the meeting.
Okay, moving on to staff reports, Administrative Department, AD 2025-07 Strategic Plan Update. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move on myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the council receive staff report AD 2025-07 Strategic Plan Update for information purposes only.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Zoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The strategic plan was approved by council in 2023. This report provides an update on the progress of each item as identified in the attached plan and is provided for information purposes only. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So questions or comments from members of council? So it looks like we're progressing fairly well on almost everything. A few that are just ongoing, but it's looking good. I mean, we set out that plan for 4 years, and it looks like we may hit many of our goals by the end of it, so it's good news. So I will call the question. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Thank you. Moving on to Community Services Department, CS 2025-18 designation properties, the municipal register. Councillor Martin.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report CS 2025-18 designation process for properties to the municipal register, and that the council directs staff to proceed with the designation process to the municipal register for the following properties as recommended by the Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee. Commercial property, Alexandria Train Station, 45 McDougall Street East, Alexandria. Commercial property, Glengarry County Archives, 20 Kenyon Street East, Alexandria.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So throughout 2025, the Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee has been meeting to discuss properties that could be captured as part of our designation process. So as a result, we are prepared to recommend 2 properties that are ready for designation. We do have another 5 properties that are still pending further research and information gathering to be later presented to council this year. However, we'd like to proceed with the proposal to council that we designate 2 commercial properties, one being the Alexandria train station as well as the Glengarry County Archives building. If approved, next steps would be to provide a notice of intent to be delivered to the property owners, as well as provide the information through public notification in the form of the media. And provided no objections are received, it would come back to council for further bylaw approval before moving forward with the designation process. So subject to any questions, this is the recommendation that staff have through the Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just, can we do a review on the notice before it goes out? Because there's a couple of mistakes in there that I picked up on. We don't need to go into them now, but we'll do them before.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? The motion is carried, none opposed. Okay. Moving on to the really good news. CS 2025-19 emergency purchase, Glengarry Sports Palace chiller failure. Deputy Mayor.
Nice intonation there. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report number CS 2025-19 emergency purchase, Glengarry Sports Palace chiller failure for information purposes only.
Okay, thank you. Stephanie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the Glengarry Sports Palace hosts a very key piece of equipment needed to build and maintain the ice surface at the arena on an annual basis. The current chiller system at the arena was installed in 2010. It's been well preserved through regular routine maintenance and was expected to last generally 17 to 20 years. So for that reason, the Community Services Department had proactively planned to replace the chiller as part of its regular 10-year capital planning. So it was identified to be replaced within the next 3 years. Unfortunately, we've recently run into a situation where it has reached its end of life prematurely and created a situation where we are in a position where we need to bring immediate attention to it based on the fact that there's been a mixture of both ammonia and brine within the refrigeration system, which has resulted in an ultimate failure of the equipment. So for that reason, staff took quick action to contact our provider of the chiller and ultimately look at what options were available to us. They did provide us a quote in the amount of $228,000. to replace the chiller and to dispose of the brine and ammonia that had been mixed. As this is a critical piece of infrastructure needed to build and maintain the ice, paired with the fast approaching ice season at that time, staff consulted with the Chief Administrative Officer surrounding the need to quickly mobilize an emergency purchase for a replacement chiller. So this emergency purchase was approved in alignment with the Township of North Glengarry procurement policy. So from that, staff further took quick action to look at our ice users. And as council will recall, we did have an original startup date for the Glengarry Sports Palace of September 10th and a startup date for the Maxville Sports Complex as of September 21st. The arena team, led by Nick Hansen, quickly pivoted and mobilized the startup at Maxville in advance as a means to help move over any of the existing rentals from the Glengarry Sports Palace over to Maxville to try our best to accommodate users as best as we could. So as such, the installation in Maxville will be complete as of September 10th, and we will be welcoming users at that time. However, we were not able to accommodate all users after that September 21st date, as the demand is greater than available ice times that we have. So in alignment with the new ice allocation policy that was presented to council earlier this year, on a priority basis, we did work with the user groups to make sure that we were able to accommodate ice requests on a priority basis, obviously with our local minor hockey teams and associations being prioritized first. And I have to recognize our community services assistant, Genevieve LeBrun, for all of her work in coordinating with the associations to move over a lot of the ice times. So essentially where we're at is we are working with the provider to finalize the ultimate chiller replacement dates. At this point in time, we are looking at now the end of September, early October. The time frame to replace the chiller in itself will take approximately 2 to 3 weeks. Following that, we will need to proceed with our regular ice installation, which can take up to 14 days. So we are still in a bit of a delay with beginning our ice season, but nonetheless, we've been working diligently to mobilize the changes accordingly, work with the provider as well as all of our user groups to make this as seamless as possible. In addition to that, we've also been looking to highlight some of our other available off-ice training opportunities through the use of the dome as an example for any teams that cannot be accommodated or who are looking for some extra physical activity spaces within the township. So while the delay has impacted ice availability and resulted in a small loss of revenue and reduced access for some of our users, the department has worked diligently to mitigate these effects by accelerating the ice installation at the Maxville Sports Complex. We remain committed to working with all of our user groups. Unfortunately, as council will note, this expense was unanticipated for 2025 and was not a budgeted for expense for this year. So as such, the Community Services Department is looking to take funds from the reserves in order to facilitate the chiller replacement. Subject to any questions of council, this is my update surrounding the emergency purchase that was requested.
Okay, thank you. And speaking to you today, I think the user groups have been very accommodating and very helpful in moving forward.
Absolutely. Through you, Mr. Mayor, we're very fortunate to have a close working relationship with many of our local associations, and I can appreciate the frustration in trying to start up a season when you've been granted, a certain schedule, and so having to pivot from that can be challenging, but we're very grateful for the response that we've been receiving from our user groups and their willingness to work with us.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wondered, is there any health risks with the brine mixed with ammonia and in under the rink?
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, that is a very good question. Right now, it is fairly contained with where the compressor room is located at the rear of the building, with also proper what's the word I'm looking for? Yes, thank you. Thank you, ventilation. But nonetheless, as much as we thought maybe we would have an opportunity to promote use of the dry pad during this time, we've opted away from that purely out of ensuring that there's no risk to any user. So no one has been using the dry pad area or beyond due to this.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just Once we have a date, obviously, that we can sort of work towards a startup, we'll put it out on social media and let everybody know, presumably. Do we have any idea when we might get closer to having an idea of a date?
Absolutely, through you, Mr. Mayor. It has been a bit of a challenge as we're facing startup season for so many of Simcoe's other clients as well. They do know this is very much a priority for us, and as a valued customer of theirs, I know they're very eager to get here and start the work. So as much as we're trying to push for an earlier start date, I do imagine it will likely be end of October at the very earliest before we're able to welcome users back. But nonetheless, as soon as we have final information, our priority will be to, again, communicate with the user groups to give them a more realistic timeline and work with them to convert their schedules, and then following that, alert the public, of course, of the update.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Martin.
Well, this incident to me really magnifies the importance of having the Maxville Arena available. And I'm just wondering, any reserves pulled from the Maxville project would delay any replacement of the surface in Maxville. I'm a little concerned with delaying.
I think that's more of a question for budget time when we get there, and replacing those funds into that so that we're ready in case we do get a grant coming forward. So that's something we're going to be definitely discussing at budget time. Okay. Any further questions? Go ahead, Councillor Manley.
Yeah, just thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to thank Stephanie for all your work on this. It must have been very tough, and Genevieve as well, or whatever. So please pass that on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and absolutely, Councillor Manley. It's I could not have experienced this without the support of our team, who were instrumental in really pivoting and readjusting. So absolutely a team effort here, and grateful for the work that was done in community services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Thank you. Moving on to the Treasury Department, TR 2025-14 Water Financial Plan. Councillor Cadell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report TR 2025-14 2025 Drinking Water Financial Plan, and that Council approves the submission of this plan to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
Okay, thank you. Zoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is a requirement under Ontario Regulation 54307 that a water financial plan is prepared and provided to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing with the renewal of the license for the drinking water system. This plan provides information on the financial stability of the system and was prepared by the Finance and Water Department. The plan outlines the current debt for the drinking water system related to the Maxwell Water Project and includes the repayment schedule. It also includes the projected capital budget for water. Schedules A to D provide additional financial information on the system and show if the system is financially stable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you for the report, Zoe. It was very comprehensive. What I took out of reading it is that our current water rates that we are charging, because this is a pay for service fee, are adequate and will be adequate moving forward at I think a 2% increase every year, and that will be adequate to make sure that it's financially stable.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. According to the projections, yes, we would, between the Finance Department and the Public Works Department, we would like to do a comprehensive review of the rates. But with everything projected in the plan, yes, a 2% increase should be sufficient. And once we do a study, it'll give us a little bit more information on that.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Further questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. TR 2025, year-end budget adjustments. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moving myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report TR 2025-15 2025 budget adjustments, and that the Council approves the 2024 budget adjustments as detailed in Appendix A.
Okay, thank you. Zoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the 2024 audit process, it was determined that certain capital expenses were moved to operating as they did not qualify to be capitalized. The corresponding budget can only be moved with a budget reallocation passed by council resolution. This will ensure that the budgeted and actuals are reflected appropriately on our 2024 statements. The attached report outlines the budget adjustments, and it includes items that did not meet the capital threshold or were not of a capital nature. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Moving on to Building, Planning and Bylaw Department, BP 2025-20, zoning bylaw amendment number Z04 2025, Wilco Finger. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Martin, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt zoning bylaw number Z04 2025. And that bylaw number Z04 2025 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council this 8th day of September 2025.
Thank you. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the applicant for this file was Mr. Finger. The address 1851 Dalkeith Road, just north of, heading out of Dalkeith. So the purpose for the application was presented on August 11, so at the previous meeting, was to rezone 74 acres of land zone general ag and restricted ag to AG 259 to prohibit residential, and the opposite for the 2.60 acre to prohibit agricultural. Application was circulated as per Planning Act, regular mail to all the neighbors, posted on site, posted on the township's website, and in the newspaper. We have received no further comments or concerns from members of the public. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Items under the consent agenda, Committee of Adjustment hearing minutes, Monday, May 26th, and public meeting of planning, Monday, May 26th. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cadell, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry received the item and from the consent agenda for information purposes only.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on the consent agenda? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. And notice of motion, next regular meeting of council is Monday, September 29th, 2025, 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. Council will be going into closed session to discuss items about an identifiable individual. So that leaves us with question period. Are there any questions from the public at this time? Yes, go ahead.
I'm just curious, because I missed almost a year of on council. When did you stop doing the old Canada?
We just, I just brought that up as we went through. We have not. It's because we were 12 minutes late into the meeting. And I'm, so yes, that was absolutely the deputy mayor's call. Yeah, but again, we were late, and I blame this all on Jacobs because I'm not to blame for anything. So, but yes, it has not disappeared, and we will definitely be doing it at the next meeting. So, thank you for your question. Any other questions from the public? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask Deputy Mayor Williams to proceed in closed session, and then we'll take a 5-minute break.
I move by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, to proceed in closed session as this matter deals with personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. They may be discussed in closed session under Section 2392B of the Ontario Municipal Act.
Thank you. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. So we'll take a 5-minute break. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening. And Good evening, everyone, again. We have come out of closed session, and I would call on Deputy Mayor Williams to present a resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry hereby appoints Timothy Simpson as interim Chief Administrative Officer / Clerk, effective September the 8th, 2025, until a permanent appointment is made, and that bylaw number 29, 2025 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council this 8th day of September, 2025.
Thank you. And any questions or comments on this? All those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed. Councillor Madden.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Martin, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt bylaw 30, 2025, a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution, and that bylaw 30, 2025 be read a first, second, third time, and enacted in open council this 8th day of September 2025.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. And Councillor Martin.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that there be no further business to discuss. The meeting was adjourned at 7:20 PM.
All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for anybody watching. Thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you to members of council and staff. Have a great evening.